Welcome to Ofofo Studio. My guest for today is Mr. Amit Mishra. Amit heads Dazeinfo Media and Research, and what they specialize in is finding out everything that exists about everything and breaking it down into consumable patterns for leadership within companies and also VCs so that they can make accurate decisions based on whatever is fed to them.
Yes.
Was that correct, Amit?
Yeah, definitely. In one line, you can say that we help people to peep into the future
Right.
with the help of data.
Right. But going by the sheer amount of data that exists on the internet and offline, I can't imagine this being a very easy job.
And definitely not. See, today, if you see, data market is, totally fragmented.
Absolutely.
And more we are getting digitized. Yeah. More and more things are going on internet. The production of data, the consumption of data is much higher than as compared to a few years ago.
Correct.
And the more and more data is getting produced, that means the more and more accuracy is being challenged, the more the consumption patterns changing much faster rate. So keeping a tab on all those things with the help of data and making sense out of it is very difficult job as of today.
Right. But you started much earlier, right? I mean, like, it has become so big.
Correct.
But when you started, I think it must have been like 15 years.
No. So I started Dazeinfo, full time I started Dazeinfo in 2017.
Okay.
Before that, it was kind of a side hustle.
Okay.
I was taking care of Middle East and Africa market for LG at that time.
Okay.
And so almost I worked for a decade for Middle East and Africa market. I worked with LG. Before LG, I worked with Polaris. And before Polaris, there was another company I worked. So almost a decade I worked for Middle East and Africa market. But this is my second startup.
Okay.
So my first startup I did when there was no word called a startup. That was in 2001.
Okay.
So that was the time when I did my first startup. 4 and a half years, I ran that startup, and I took an exit that was acquired by another company. And at that time, since today we can talk about, we can use those words like acquisition, startup. Right. At that time, there was no such word. It was pure business. Dhanda.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ki bhai, dhanda big gaya, dhanda banaya tha, dhanda big gaya, that's all.
Correct.
But today we can talk, we can use all these jargons, we can use all these words.
Yeah.
So I took a successful exit at that time, and then I started realizing one of the reasons behind exiting at that time was we were struggling to take this business globally. Because that was my first startup. I never worked before in any of the companies.
What was the startup into?
So that was basically, today we are talking about cloud servers.
Right.
At that time, we created a control panel using which you can manage your Linux servers.
Nice. Okay.
So at that time, there was no such functionality.
Right.
It was a GUI-based control panel where anyone is taking a co-location server. We just used to go deploy those control panel, and all the company can able to manage their server through GUIs. They wanted to create directory. They wanted to create different accounts. They want to do whatever it is. Complete server they can manage through that particular control panel. So that was a startup, and slowly it started as a complete services, complete co-location servers to them. Not only the control panel, we became a one-stop solution for all those companies. They came to us. We gave them the complete server as well as the control panel, co-location service and all.
Right.
So in 2005, I found that it is becoming very difficult for me to tap international market because I was not having any such experience or exposure. So some of my friends advised me ki, you are getting a good opportunity to exit, and then I think you should start looking out to understand how exactly this expansion works.
Right.
So after exiting, I specifically selected a company which took me to Africa market. And they gave me the role how to create the whole ecosystem, whole partner ecosystem, how exactly the international expansion works there.
What company was this?
This Tech Unified.
Tech Unified.
Yeah, today that it's the founders were the same. The Simply Learn and all, the Krishna and Kunal,
right.
They were the founders of that company. Okay. So they deployed me in East African market. So I was in Nairobi, then I went to Tanzania, then I went to Rwanda and Ghana. All those people are scared to go, but I got an opportunity to go everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you a very interesting anecdote. So what happened the first month when I joined, because my whole purpose was that I wanted to explore international market.
Correct.
So when they gave me an opportunity, I said, okay, fine, I'm ready. Right. Because anyway, I was mentally prepared.
Yeah.
So I went there, and the first month salary came. And there was a very, a different component was there, which I was not expecting. It was an additional payout.
Okay.
And that's called a hardship allowance.
Okay.
And I was totally not aware, what is this hardship allowance? So I called some of my friends working in the same, some of my colleagues, and they also had no clue. And
Right.
then one guy, he told me, hardship allowance is paid when you are deployed in countries where no one is willing to go.
Oh my God.
By
You're like,
then,
I'll get paid for this.
yes. I said, did I made a right kind of decision?
Yeah.
Or ab to main aa gaya hu, now anyway I'm already there. I
Correct.
cannot do anything.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm already here.
Yeah.
Whether they pay me or not, that hardship allowance I have to serve.
Yeah.
So that was a very interesting thing. I learned it. Ki, okay, Africa market is a little different. So I work for Africa, and that's how my journey started.
But Amit, that's also a very interesting choice that you made. When most people are looking to explore international markets, they usually go for developed nations, right? They'll either go to North America, they'll go to the US,
Correct.
probably Australia or Europe.
Correct.
You went to a developing country, from a developing country. So why was that choice made? Was that conscious, or is it about the opportunity that you got over there?
This I'll connect you with my today's sessions or my recent session when I go and speak.
Right.
So whenever I go, so I do many mentorships to so many startups now.
Okay.
And I keep on advising, ki, boss, if you want to raise money, let's say from X investor or X VC firm, if you want to raise money, do not approach him at all. First, go to small investors where you are not expecting anything.
Okay.
It's like a trial run.
Right.
You get test the waters.
Right.
What kind of questions they're going to ask, how difficulty it's going to be, what difficult you will find yourself in a kind of a situation.
Yeah.
So then if you are through, it's like a keep on trialing. And once you're done, once you are perfect, then you approach to your right target.
Right.
So same thing happens there. Because I decided, what if I go to, let's say, Singapore or US, obviously I have to compete at par.
Absolutely. Yeah. You
Right?
have to be top of the game.
Very difficult for me
because
I never had international exposure before.
Okay.
So I said, okay, let's start with Africa. I got a very good opportunity. Do it here, understand how things works, and then perhaps I will move out of here and then go to US or Singapore or Dubai or wherever it is. And that is how I worked for years there, and then I got a chance and then I moved to Dubai.
An analogy that comes to my mind when you just said this is when, like, if you're an avid motorcyclist, and if you're looking to learn how to ride a motorcycle, most people get enticed by pictures of super bikes, right? Like, if you have the money, I'll buy a Ducati or I'll get a Hayabusa. Correct. But most of the seasoned veteran motorcyclists will tell you, cut your teeth on a 150, 200cc bike first. Understand, run at least like 15,000, 20,000 kilometers on that before you go for that.
Yes, exactly.
Which actually makes a lot of sense.
Yes, because see, if I'm suppose if I'm willing to raise funds, let's say from Excel partner,
right,
I am going to get only one chance.
Yeah.
I will not get second, third, or fourth chance.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I have to give my best.
Yeah.
So how I need to practice? Either I can sit at home and keep on judging and writing and judging my own copies, which is not a right way. Yeah. Or I will reach out to small scale investors, keep on pitching. Let's see what kind of feedback they give. I'll come back, refine myself. Again, I go back. Again, I'll get some kind of feedback. I may not get investment. That's fine because that's not my target.
That's all
if I get it, fine enough. If I do not get it, anyway, those are not under my radar.
Yes, correct. So, like, during the time of your first startup, did the kind of, I'm sure the kind of VC ecosystem that exists now didn't then.
No, it was not at
all. Because like the definitions did not exist, right? Did you go about raising money then, or were you bootstrapped all the way through?
I never knew कि लोग पैसा लगाते भी.
You give me money.
मेरे को तो ऐसा लगता है. In fact, today also, my hometown where I live, I am surrounded. It's one of the Asia's largest bulk market. Okay. Where I'm surrounded with all those, Guptas, Marwadis, and everywhere. So it is called a billionaires hub kind of.
Where is this?
So this is in Lucknow called Ayaganj.
Okay.
So that's only bulk market, and every day's revenue is, I just cannot even explain. I cannot even tell you. Right. It's so huge that 3 or 4 banks needs to come and set up their branches there. That kind of cash flow happens on a daily basis. So when this kind of things happens, when I grew up at that time, it was very difficult ecosystem. And today also, when I go and tell them, they ask me the same question. अगर घाटा हो रहा है तो मैं पैसा क्यों लगाऊंगा? कौन घाटे की कंपनी में पैसा लगाता है? तो उस समय तो ऐसा कोई इकोसिस्टम था ही नहीं. At that time there was no such ecosystem.
Absolutely.
So it was only like either bootstrap or shut the door and Go back.
Or take a loan, like
Yes.
basically,
Loan. Loan
Yeah.
was the only option perhaps, but loan is like whatever way you have to return it back.
Absolutely, yeah.
So bootstrap, again, this word was also not existing at that time. So it was a pure dhanda at that time. By client, I was very clear, and at that time, everyone was very clear. They were customer centric.
Okay.
Today, most of the startups are investor centric. Like we have been hearing lot many news ki I'm shutting down my startup because I'm not able to raise next round.
Right.
Why? Because you are investor centric. You are not dependent on your customers.
Absolutely. If you give something to people that they really
But
want, they'll pay you.
that is not called entrepreneurship.
You're solving a problem for
Yeah,
yourself.
you are here to solve the problem. You need to understand your customers.
Right.
You need to be customer centric, not your investor centric. You are not generating money for investors.
Yeah.
You are generating money for yourself, and you are adding value for your customers.
Correct.
Investors are somewhere in the middle.
Right.
But if your whole purpose of doing a startup is to raise funds, and then you're hanging your boots or probably giving back the keys, okay fine, I'm not able to raise funds, then I'm just giving back all the money to you, or probably I'm shutting down the shutter, then that's not called a real startup.
Absolutely, yeah.
But that is how I see and how I feel about the ecosystem.
I completely agree. One more thing, Amit. So for your first company, when you started it, did you identify the problem first, and then you decided that I need to be an entrepreneur, I need to have a venture to solve this problem? Or was it the opposite way? Like, that I need to be an entrepreneur, I need to have a business of my own, and then you started going about like identifying problems that you could solve. Which was it?
So being honest, at that time, I didn't do any kind of research before starting anything.
Okay.
So at that time, it was 2000, internet was just coming up. Very few people were talking about e-commerce.
Right.
People were talking about only websites at that time.
Right.
So there was a new company. At that time, we used to register a domain from Network Solutions. And there was another company called Net4 India.
Okay.
And then suddenly, one of the third company came into the picture. Bhavin used to run. The company name was DirectEye.
Okay.
So, and they started doing great. So one day I met Bhavin in Mumbai.
Who's Bhavin?
Bhavin was the CEO of DirectEye.
Okay.
So it is one of the largest registrar. DirectEye was later sold to some other US-based company.
Okay.
And Bhavin is a serial entrepreneur now. He did 2-3 other companies, and DirectEye came out really good. At that time, I think DirectEye had some different name. I'm not able to recall at this point in time. So we started because at that time there was a new demand. New TLDs came into the picture. .in, .co.in.
What are TLDs for the viewers and listeners?
So TLDs is nothing but top level domains, which you call it, even general language you call it as an extension. Ki boss तुम्हें .com book करना है, यार तुम्हें .in book करना है, तुम्हें .net लेना है. This is called TLDs actually.
Okay.
So today also we always try to book .com first.
Absolutely.
And if you do not get, then you go for, perhaps today you go for .in and .co.in.
True.
उस समय एकदम .in and .co.in एकदम नया launch हुआ था.
Okay.
So Bhavin, we discussed, he said कि right now we just starting, we are the cusp of revolution, internet revolution. Amit, why don't you start?
Right.
I started registering domain, and I was pretty good.
And what were you doing around that time?
I just passed out.
Okay. Oh, this was right out of college?
Yes, absolutely. Okay. My first job itself was the entrepreneurship. Without doing anything.
Okay.
So I started registering domains, and I started doing good. And then suddenly I realized, because only domain doesn't serve the purpose.
Correct.
So once you book the domain, your obvious next step is to launch and host it.
Yeah.
Slowly, I realized that when it comes to large applications, people need co-location servers or huge servers or VPS.
Right.
But at that time, they found that everything needs to be managed via command line, because there was used to be only 2 control panel at that time, PLESK, Plusk, and WHM.
Okay.
And those were designed from an enterprise point of view.
Yeah.
Not very simple kind of things. There were hundreds of options, and people used to get confused.
Correct.
So then I designed a control panel, which was much more easier, less of a functionality which you actually need.
Okay.
Only that much. And then I started offering the whole co-location servers. Boss, if you take server from me, it comes pre-installed.
All right.
Much more easier for you.
Right.
So we got many orders, and then slowly day came when MTNL, we started hosting MTNL. At that time, it was allowed to host on the private servers.
Okay.
So MTNL.
Now it isn't?
Now it is. Now though, government needs to have everything on their own premises, everything, all these things. At that time, it was allowed because early stage of internet revolution in India.
Right. How did AWS, GCP, Azure coming into the picture change the game?
There was not. It was not existing. The AWS one there.
Okay.
No AWS, no GCP. No. At that time, it used to be Rackspace.
Okay.
Rackspace was the best company in server at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a gold standard.
Okay.
At that time, if you're taking from Rackspace, that means you are in the safest hand.
So explain this to me. How would you take something from Rackspace? This is like pre-high-speed internet, right? So they would come to your physical location to
No.
Okay, no.
So it's like Rackspace has got a whole rack or a whole data center with them.
Okay.
So they used to set up whole data center, and then you can take one server there.
Okay.
Two server there, or you can send your machine. Suppose if you are
But geographically, how far would they be?
So if it is a co-location, then you can send the machine here itself.
Okay.
If it is not, then you tell them your specification. They will set it on behalf of you, and they will give a complete control to you, and then you can install whatever you want, and then you give it to your client.
Why do you think they are not heard of now?
Because at that time there was no cloud server, technology changed drastically. There was remote balancing and elasticity and all those things were not there. It's like if you're taken a server of, let's say, I remember at that time Xeon servers was the most power servers at that time.
Correct, yeah.
Technology was different, demand was different, load was different at that time. Load was not that great what it's today.
Correct.
So I think we are staying in a different era today. I'm talking about totally different era.
Absolutely. All right. So from that to market intelligence and data analytics.
Yes.
How did that jump come? No, so between that, let's focus on the jobs that you had in between those two startups.
So Tech Unified was there after that. Then after that, I did a job in Adrenaline E-Systems Limited, which is Polaris company.
Okay.
So
were you out of Africa by then?
Yeah, it was Africa only.
It was Africa.
Yeah. Because they wanted to expand, and then I got a call one day, ki I'm calling from Polaris, this, that, and we want to expand. And since you are anywhere there, we have seen some of your work. So the interview happened. They called me to Chennai. I went there to Polaris office. I met many people. Balaji, who was the CEO of Adrenaline, I met him, and he liked me. And then he said, Amit, but this job will require you to be in Dubai.
Right.
And then you have to cover. So that means you need to cover a whole region, and a lot of traveling is involved.
Right.
I said, I'm fine with that. So they put me in Dubai. They shifted me from East Africa to Dubai, and then Dubai was my base location. And from Dubai, I started traveling East Africa, Abu Dhabi and Oman and all the Middle East and Africa region.
Okay.
That is how. So I worked there, and after that, I joined LG.
Okay.
Because by then I started getting bored. It was been a few years, so I started getting bored. So LG came with an option ki I can give you an option that as and when you want, you can travel to India also for some time, and then you can go back.
Yeah.
I said, okay, some change here and there will keep happening. Because being honest, at that time, sitting here and seeing Dubai or Africa, it's totally different thing. Right. But living in Dubai or in East Africa or in South Africa, it's totally different thing.
Yeah.
See, Dubai company started at 8 o'clock.
Okay.
Right? And Dubai opens until 3:30 in the night.
My God.
And so what happens when you're in sales, your job is not limited only to office hours.
Absolutely not, yeah.
Many clients are coming. Let's say they are traveling from US. Now, you have to be with them because if they want to explore Dubai after office hours,
relationship
you cannot just tell, because you have to develop a relationship. You're talking about $1 million deal.
Yeah.
So you just cannot do like that.
Yeah.
So you have to be with them. If they are awake, they are enjoying up till 1 o'clock, you have to be with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have to reach office every day 8 o'clock. They may not because they are just your client.
Right.
But you have to be there by 8. So it is very difficult and very tiring.
Right.
So I got an opportunity with LG, and they gave me as and when you want. It's much better. You can either here and then you can manage there and you can keep on traveling. And I took this opportunity and I worked with LG for a few years. And then what happened after working with LG, I started. So in LG, actually with this idea of Dazeinfo came there.
Okay.
So in LG, we used to buy many reports from IDC, Gartner and all those things. So each report used to cost us like $1,000, $2,000. So I used to buy and I used to give it to my team. Ki boss, isko study karo aur iske basis pe batao.
Right.
But those reports are drafted in such a way that you cannot understand anything by your own.
Yeah.
So whenever I used to go back to these companies, they used to, not only Gartner, there were so many other companies where these companies used to tell me, yes, we can do one thing. We can do a one-day workshop and we will come and explain.
Okay.
and then they will again charge us for that workshop.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah, they are charging me double time because I have already paid for that report, and now again they are charging me to
Yeah.
explain the same
The
report I
same
paid for.
Right.
So I thought, what nonsense is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
So then I got an idea. I started, then since we were reading so many reports, I asked one of my friends, why don't you start a blog? So actually, Dazeinfo started as a blog.
Okay.
So then we started writing something in a very simplified manner, because anyhow.
When you say we, it was you and?
So me, and there was another guy called Debranjan.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we started generally as a blog because he was very good in terms of copy editing and all.
Okay.
So we started, but then within few months, it was just a blog. It was not a registered entity. Nothing was there. And then he got distracted, or probably whatever he said. Okay, theek hai, jo chal raha hai, chal raha hai.
Yeah.
I continued it somehow.
Okay.
Fine, let it go. Whatever the time.
What year is this?
It was in 2014-15.
Okay.
Yeah, so it went on.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, so during this time, because I have always been a techno sales role.
Okay.
I have always been a techno sales guy,
Right.
coming from a technology background, understanding sales. So I'll tell you something very important. Why I prefer to be a techno sales guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was year back. It was long back when I passed 10th.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, Usha phone was launched. Mobile phone at the early first stage, when outgoing was 36 rupees,
Yeah.
incoming was 36 rupees.
Yeah.
And there was a huge device of Motorola. Literally like this size.
Right.
So I just passed out 10, and there used to be a summer holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided, why to waste these 2 months? Let's go and join some internship. So my first internship was Usha phone, and they just launched in UP. So they gave us the phone, they gave us a training, and said, okay, go in the market and sell it.
Yeah.
And obviously 36 rupees incoming, 36 rupees outgoing, and some 40,000-50,000 rupees phone.
And this is 36 rupees in 1998, which is like...
no, 1994 or 5 I'm talking
4
about.
or 5, okay.
Yes. It was like a pager era was going out,
Mhm.
and mobile phone was already in the place.
Just coming in.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah.
In the whole city,
Hmm.
I was the only one who sold one.
Oh my God. Who did you sell it to?
There was some guy. So at that time, what happened, that they came up with a scheme,
Okay.
though it is 36 rupees,
Hmm.
but some scheme was like that, if you are paying lump sum amount before itself, we will slowly keep reducing this incoming. We
Got
will
it.
adjust something.
Got
Some
it.
offer
Yeah,
was
yeah,
there.
yeah.
So that is how, but it was very difficult to explain and convince people.
Yeah.
Even though also, because the initial investment was 50,000 rupees at that time.
Hmm.
And this 50,000 rupees, you should not see as of today 50,000 rupees.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
50,000 rupees in 94. That
Yeah.
means, I believe, if you
1.5
calculate
lakhs or
inflation,
something
around
like that.
1.5 lakh rupees at that time.
Easily.
Very, very expensive at that time. But I was able to sell one device.
Okay.
So my boss came and he told me, "Yaar, बहुत अच्छा तुम लोग काम कर लेते हो. You are very good in this."
Right.
So I said, very good. So then I decided, okay, I think I am good in speaking and all, and this is something which I should do. But it was very small, something, a short-sighted kind of thing. Then again, after 12th,
Why do you say it was short-sighted?
I didn't thought it, because I was just past
No, I think
10.
it's still pretty impressive. Like a
impressive, but
15-year-old guy selling a phone when it
well,
doesn't exist.
It didn't stuck at that time.
Okay.
And then when I passed 12th, I joined Hindustan Times, because
Okay.
Hindustan Times just launched in Lucknow.
Okay.
So they needed PPC executives
Okay.
whose job was to reach
Wait,
out.
1 second. PPC, is it pay-per-click? No.
No. PPC is a public something candidate, something was there.
Okay.
Well, the whole job was that you need to reach out to each and every house,
Okay.
tell them that this Hindustan Times is launched.
Okay.
It is better than Times of India,
Okay.
and you should subscribe.
Got it. Okay.
Right. Now that job, the hours were like 5 o'clock in the morning,
My God.
because you have to reach everyone's house. You have to talk at that time, and you need to reach there before hawker reaches.
Right.
You need to convince them, and then they will tell to hawker, okay, boss, from tomorrow, do not put Times of India, put Hindustan Times.
Yeah.
It was very difficult job. Initially, I thought it was very easy. Okay, fine, because there was no exchange of money, there was
Right.
nothing like that. You just have to convince, and people were very okay. Oh, very good, nice. Yeah, they used to sign. But then after 15 days, my boss came back to me. Boss, whatever you got the customers, it is not turning into real numbers, because still they are getting Times of India only.
So were they getting both? Like
No. So
they
what happened?
signed for it, but they didn't get it.
They'll just sign it.
Okay.
They will agree, fine, from tomorrow I'll take Hindustan Times and I'll tell to my hawker. But then they continue to have Times of India only. Then I started digging, ki, yaar, where is the problem actually? Then I found ki whatever you read, it is not your choice.
Right.
The control is in hawker's choice, hawker's hand. Distribution. Because you will not get up at 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning just to wait on the door to tell to hawker, ki, boss, tomorrow I need Hindustan Times.
Yeah. Interesting.
If he is coming and dropping Times of India, you are okay with that. Because end of the day, I'm getting the information, I'm getting the whatever intelligence data or whatever it is, I'm getting it.
Yeah.
My purpose is getting solved. This is very peculiar kind of problem.
So what's analogous to the hawker of that era
Mhm.
to the information consumption that exists today? Who's the distributor today?
Of the information,
Yes.
I think today
Who decides what we read?
it's the same. The industry is same. Whatever the publications, media houses serve it to you, you just consume it. How many people really know to validate that information today?
Exactly. That was going
You
to be
don't
my
know.
next question. Yeah.
Yes, you don't
So
know.
how do you go about getting closer to the single source of truth without bloatware or layers that are introduced by different kinds of publishing houses? They have their own vested interest. But I just want to know facts for the way they are. And even companies who specialize in it, like you've taken some names, their own data might not agree with each other. Like they would give you drastically different answers for the same question.
Correct.
How do you go about finding what's the actual truth?
So, a very good question actually. First of all, I must say that because this is actually where the problem lies. Today, data market is totally fragmented.
Okay.
So I'll give you a real example. Today, if you go to Google and type, let's say, the size of EV market in India by 2030, or the growth of EV market, or like the CAGR of EV market, two-wheelers in India, Gartner will give you one figure, Forrester will give you another figure, IDC will give you some other figure, and there is a huge difference.
Right.
So now, as a consumer, how will you decide which number is closer to the reality?
I'll ask Dazeinfo.
Definitely. So that is what we do. We do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Because I cannot expect that as a consumer or as a end user that you will sit and study all their methodologies of each and every report.
Correct.
Even forget about each and every report. People do not even pay attention to N is equal to how much in most of the reports. They do not even go and read the methodology itself.
Right.
They do not know how this number, they have arrived to this particular number, from where this number have come. They just see the number, they adopt it.
Right.
So what we do, we study on the same topic. We study all the possible and available research reports. Gartner, Forrester, this, that, and everything, small, big, everything. And then we understand the methodology. We do lot many other research. We mix it in a different processes. And then we arrive to one particular number which is closer to reality and which is much more adoptable.
Got it.
And then we make a story around it and put it on our platform because this is that number, this is that trend which you should bother about. Then while making your deck, while making your presentation, while talking or wherever you want to use it, this is the number you should focus on.
So most of your customers would tend to be people in leadership positions within companies.
Yes.
And also, like you said, VCs and
Correct.
private equity funds who would be looking at that kind of trends to understand what companies they should be investing in.
Correct.
What are some of the most common questions that they ask you?
See, today though, all the investors. So when I most of my customers, so we have got two arms.
Okay.
One is service arm, where we are working for different brands, as and when they need any kind of market research reports on ad hoc basis.
Yeah.
Whatever they ask, we do all those research reports, secondary, primary, and give back the report to them. They own that report.
Okay.
Then we have a B2C model where we do a lot of micro studies. And as I told you, when I was in LG, they used to draft in a very difficult manner. So we are trying to solve that problem. We are doing these micro studies and publishing in a very simple format. Okay. Anyone and everyone can understand that. Publishing on a website in an article format, people need to come, register, and log in and consume that information. So we have a B2C model, we have a B2B model. Now, coming to your question, when you talk about investors always want to, find out where the next big opportunity lies.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Amit, can you tell me उस market में क्या होने वाला है?
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? या
Yeah.
क्या कहाँ पे होने वाला है? पैसा कहाँ डालना है? क्योंकि end of the day they are also answerable to actually the real investor who is participating in the fund.
Right.
So everyone has got a different. Most of the entrepreneurs are more interested in what their competitors are doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Because that is where they always want to keep an eye. In fact, I was reading yesterday, Dipinder Goyal of Zomato, he made a statement that the day Swiggy raised 1 billion, we thought we are dead because we had only 35 million left.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So you know, there's an old saying, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
Correct.
So that is the same thing happens here. In the business also, it applies the same.
Right.
And that is how it works. So I'll tell you something. We did some research for one of the leading mobile phone companies, and he called me and he said, Amit, I need to understand what type of phone consumers would be buying after a year.
Okay.
So I told him, so that means you are trying to understand the upgrade pattern. He said, absolutely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Can you get it? I said, yeah, definitely. It will take little time because there are lot many attributes, lot many parameters we need to take into consideration. We may need to mix primary and secondary data both to find their upgrade patterns.
What's primary data and what's secondary data here?
So primary data is something which is generally not available on Google or anywhere else.
Okay. Okay.
Right? It's like a consumer behavior. So suppose Rento Mojo is there. Rento Mojo is your client, so I'm mentioning that. Suppose Rento Mojo is there and they wanted to understand consumer satisfaction is score, their own customer satisfaction score.
Okay.
So we reach out to their own customers and we do some kind of research report, which is like, again, so all the findings and the insights and the outcome is not available anywhere else. That is primary data. Right. Similar kind of anything which is not available on internet, which is a primary data, proprietary data, which we get it.
Right.
Secondary data is something which we may be lying somewhere far away in some reports, which is not easily accessible. Let's say UPI data, UPI pattern shares, market shares. It is there, but not easily available.
Yeah.
Or it is behind the paid walls. Or somewhere else
you need to get like a
you need to dig a lot
company.
and lot to get out all those data.
Right.
That is a secondary data.
So how do you get access to that kind of data? How do you know what a common person doesn't?
I hope you're not trying to set up another Dazeinfo.
I can't.
No, definitely. So, so we have created a different models. We call it data pipes.
Okay.
So we have got currently around 9 to 10 data pipes with us. Each data pipe serves a different purpose.
Okay.
For an example, one data pipe is meant only to supply us primary data.
Okay.
One data pipe is only to supply us secondary data. One data pipe is supplies us data which comes through partnerships.
Okay.
One data pipe supplies us data which comes through startup partnerships.
Okay.
So each data pipe is different purpose, and then we have crawlers and so many other things. They keep like spiders, the way Google works, AI-driven crawlers, and they keep getting data. It comes to us. So we have got 3 levels of moderation with Dazeinfo.
Okay.
So we do not rely whatever the data comes to us via all these pipes and tools.
Okay.
All this data comes to us. Then we have manual team. We have a whole big team. They sit on that data. They clean it. They architecture. They structure it. They do many things with that data because there may be gaps.
Right.
They try to sanitize it.
Yeah.
They try to see whether it is really making sense or not. And once they approve, once it is through with the QC,
right,
then only it comes on our platform.
Got it. So it's an extensive process then.
Yes.
Has there ever been an incident where you've been asked a question to get data around a particular concept, but you've not been able to?
Yes, it happens. Sometimes it happens.
Okay.
Because, see, you are free to ask any data.
Absolutely.
Right? But
yeah.
not necessarily that data
There's
may be
an answer.
available.
Right.
Now, many times client says, Amit, I do not want to do a primary research. Can you get me on secondary research itself?
Right.
I know it to get that data. And I'm not talking about information here. I'm talking about pure data.
Right.
Nowadays, most of the companies, most of the startups, they are, confusing between information and data mining.
What's the difference between the two?
I'll give you an example. Suppose you want to have a list of women-led startups in Bangalore.
Okay.
That is information.
Okay.
That is not data.
All right.
Data is numbers.
Okay.
Revenue, this, market share,
Got it.
Pattern,
Yes.
that is called real data.
Correct.
But nowadays, there's so many startups I bumped into,
Uh-huh.
and you are into, we're into data supplying. And what do you supply? List of this, list of that, like a Zoom info.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So that is information.
Hmm.
So information is different thing, and data is different thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time, data can be supplied from secondary sources. It may not be.
Right.
But information can be supplied.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So when a company is engaged with you, there'll be a question that there'll be some questions that they'll ask you before starting an exercise. Let's say, for example, there's a company that comes to you, they're saying that we want to organize this conference. Right. So before inviting the people over to that conference, they'll be coming over to you with some questions. Okay, who are the kind of people who would come to a conference like this? What should the speaking tracks be like, etc., etc. And then there'll be data that will be collected during the conference.
Okay.
Right. And then there'll be analysis of data after the conference is done, so that they're better prepared to do it again. Can you take me through an example such as this, in which you can elaborate how what kind of data is collected before the exercise, what kind of things happen during that exercise or project, and what happens post?
You mean to say specific to event?
No. Any example. That is something that just came to my head. But like events, if you want to focus on them, yeah, sure.
Can you just explain this question again? Because
I'll ask it differently. So let's say I come to you saying I want to organize a conference for SaaS B2B products in Bangalore.
Okay.
I want to understand what are the things that they'd be interested in knowing. What would get me, the top 100 SaaS B2B companies as participants or sponsors for that event. And then based on the interactions that happen during the event, or the kind of people that come, or the kind of meetings that happen, or conversations, however you might want to tap into them, how is it analyzed post that event?
Okay.
So that I'm better prepared for the next version of it next year.
Okay. So generally, there are 2-3 activities here that is generally done. One is pre-event activity. You can come back to me saying that, Amit, I only want to invite those people who can really add value to my event.
Right.
So you will give me some kind of parameters. Can you give me the list, that is information, of those startups who satisfies these criteria?
Correct.
Right? Who's like ARR should be this much, or profit should be this much, or losses or revenue must be this much, or early stage or growth stage, or must have raised seed round, different kind of parameters. So first activity starts from there. So when they come to us, first they need information. They do not need data directly.
Correct.
They will, I need a list of all those. Once the list is given, and once the event is going to happen, then they tell us generally, or in fact, we also offer in every conference, large conference I'm talking about here, there are different tracks. What we do, we tell them, let's say, suppose EV sessions are going to get started. There's 3 different speakers, one after another. We will give you a complete presentation about the market insights, which you can run just before those sessions.
Nice. So that's
what will happen? Audience can get connected with all those talks.
Yeah.
Like how the market has evolved, what are the challenges, who has got how much market share, which is growing, which is falling, and all those stuff. For 5 minutes, AV we create all different kind of charts. At least like 50 to 60 charts.
Wow.
We have started calling it as a data wall now, because we are doing this exercise for smaller events as well as large events, where we have got currently we have got around 20 to 30 million data points with us.
My God.
And we have got around 20,000 data infographics. So we have started putting all this data into infographics format.
Right.
And every day we publish one infographic on our social channel.
Right.
So what we do, we collage all this infographic and put it in one. So suppose if fintech tracks are going to get started, the whole fintech infographics are running.
Right.
Trends are running. So audience can get connected with that.
Makes sense. It just makes the experience.
They will have better interaction with all those tracks, all those sessions.
Makes sense.
So that is how during the event we add value.
Okay.
And then when it comes to after the event, we work with them and we take many like their feedback, what can be improved, what they find, what was the footfalling during the event,
Right.
how many people attended which all the sessions. So when you talk about analyzing it, there's a lot of dependency, especially when it comes to event.
Okay.
Whether you need to have all those readers in place, because end of the day, data can be generated and first it needs to be tracked.
Right.
We do the analysis, but that is only on track data. First, event organizers need to track that data.
Yeah.
So how will you identify, let's say there are 200 participants in that, out of 200, how many came to the event? Then let's say 100 people came, then out of 100, how many attended this session, how many attended that session? How many only, nowadays you might be seeing, lot many people do not attend any kind of sessions.
True.
They only go for networking.
Correct. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how will you filter those people next time?
Yeah.
Because I always say, boss, if a person is coming only for networking, he is not adding any value to my conference.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because he is a freeloader. Yes.
Yeah.
But I am organizing the event not for you to network, right? I am organizing, fine, you do the networking.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I am taking, inviting all these speakers, organizing such a large conference. It's a daunting task.
Right.
Months and months of efforts are required.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then if you're not attending even a one session, I don't think so you are really, solving or, at least for me, you are.
Absolutely.
No
Yeah.
use.
I agree.
You are just a freeloader then.
Right. What happens after the event? What's analyzed then?
So we do many activities if all these things are tracked, and then we understand कि किसका इंटरेस्ट कहाँ पे है, एंड देन जो भी हमारा पार्टनर नेटवर्क होता है, हम उनको उनसे कनेक्टिविटी देते हैं कि बॉस, दीज आर द पीपल who have attended EV के तीनों sessions. So that means these are the serious buyers or serious potential customers.
High intent.
So you need to reach out to those people.
Got it.
So we do the mapping of all those. And then there are different synergies which we closely work with the event organizers, because they do not have that much of time and they are also not expert. We are expert in terms of mapping, structuring, all those things.
Right.
So we do that.
Okay. So one question that I have is, how accurate is ChatGPT right now if I want to do any research?
Interesting question, actually, because almost everything is using ChatGPT.
Yeah.
See, when again, I always see it from a two different lens.
Okay.
If you are using ChatGPT for information, and I want to tell to everyone also, please use it very responsibly. If you are seeking any kind of information, ChatGPT is fine. For an example, suppose you want to get some idea on certain topics. ChatGPT is good. You can take some idea from there.
Yeah. Casual research
and information also.
Okay.
But the moment you move on data, you need to be very, very extremely precautious.
Right.
Because end of the day, again, same. Suppose there are 3 data, ChatGPT cannot decide कि हमको कौन सा data उठाना है.
Exactly. Yeah.
It does not have that kind of capabilities. So generally ChatGPT या फिर पहले भी जो early stage पे जब AI बना था, वो कैसे, इनफैक्ट अगर आप देखो तो गूगल की एल्गोरिथम कहीं ना कहीं वैसे ही काम करती है.
For sure. हाँ.
वो कैसे काम करती है कि वो जो आपका जो DR है उनका जो डोमेन अथॉरिटी है, उसके बेसिस पे दे एज्यूम कि इसका चूंकि DR हाई है तो ये एक अथॉरिटी वेबसाइट है, तो जो कुछ whatever they have written, it should be the accurate. Absolutely. And they will pull out from there and then publish it.
Correct.
ChatGPT works on the same concept almost, more or less. It cannot differentiate on its own कि कौन सा number ज़्यादा accurate है. So when it comes to accuracy, ChatGPT cannot do the justice. So therefore my kind advice to everyone is, and me and my team has got n number of incidents.
Yeah.
We have seen it. यार ये data तो मतलब गड़बड़ है.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you simple way. Just last week it happened. We were researching something. My team was researching something, and suddenly one of my colleague came to me and saying कि we were doing something on D2C.
Okay.
He came and told me कि Amit, this is the finding. Now it is saying कि they read somewhere, and it was one of the extremely popular business business news magazine. I cannot quote the name here. They mentioned grocery delivery market is $850 billion.
Okay.
So I said, he said, no, Amit, something is wrong. I said, why? The whole Indian economy itself around 4 trillion.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was
How
thinking
can be
too.
the grocery delivery alone be 850?
Yeah,
let's say close
1/4
to a
of it.
trillion.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, you have got a point.
Yeah.
From where you got the data? They said, we got it from there. I said, do you know the author name? The author name, how we got it?
Yeah.
So, because this is a very small ecosystem. On X, you are connected with all the reporters. Since they also know that we are work only in data, they keep asking lot many questions whenever they're doing any kind of stories.
Yeah.
They reach out to us. Hey, Amit, we are doing this story. Can you help me some data, some trend? We generally give it to them. So we reach out to them, and he said, yeah, I got it from ChatGPT. So then I said, what is the source? But he said, I got a source. I said, okay, give me the source. When we read that source, it was written, grocery delivery and household market is 850 billion. ChatGPT on its own had to eliminate kar diya.
Yeah.
Uska pura meaning change ho gaya.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Now, people like me as an analyst, they are able to identify such kind of problems.
Right.
But as an end consumer,
you can't.
It's very difficult.
I wouldn't be able to read between the lines. I would have taken it as is. Yeah.
So we are pretty good in terms of reading between the numbers. That is what we say.
Perfect.
It is there, but it's just not written.
Yeah. All right. Amit, when we're talking about getting insights from a consumer or a user or anybody on the web or collecting data as you speak, there is always that like feeling of fear about how it is going to be used from the perspective of the user, right? Like, privacy concerns basically. And now there are law enforcement agencies and governmental authorities who have come up with certain laws to govern how data is going to be used by corporations or companies to form insights about them. You are doing it in an ethical manner for growth. We know that there are bad threat actors who would be using it to take down a company or to scam people who would not be technologically so advanced as you. How do you think it affects your field of work?
See, when it comes to data, you will always have to be extremely careful.
Yeah.
Many times it happens, and it happened with us also कि हमने कोई डेटा लेके यूज किया and बाद में कंपनी ने बोला मतलब the company which owns the data, especially when you're working on secondary data, this happens. Company comes back and says, no, yaar, I don't think so. You should use this data.
Yeah.
So whatever the data, first of all, you use, you have to be extremely precautious. वो data कहाँ से आया, किस time पे आया, everything must be recorded and it should be there with you. Otherwise, it can put you in big soup.
Correct.
That is one thing. Second thing is, when it comes to, when I see it from public point of view, first of all, privacy is dead. And I do not blame companies for that. I blame users only.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a real example. When was the last time when you really read terms and conditions and you read all the terms and conditions before checking and okay and submitting? People do tuck, next.
Right.
They signed up because end of the day, they just want to use it.
Right.
They do not even read what is written in terms and conditions.
Yeah.
So there are many fine lines in that. So it's like you are only giving them permission कि आओ boss हमको लूट लो.
Right.
अब अगर आप मेरा घर मतलब आप खुद ही अपना घर दरवाजा खोल के जाओगे, so you cannot expect कि no thief should come. You're not staying in Ram Rajya, yaar.
Yeah.
Right. So it's as simple as that.
Right.
Control is in your hands. कोई भी गवर्नमेंट आ जाए, वो सिर्फ एक रेगुलेशन बना सकती है, बट अगर आप अपना घर का दरवाजा खुद ही खोल के जाओगे तो कोई भी गवर्नमेंट, कोई भी लॉ आपको बचा नहीं सकता.
Correct. No, but see that again, you are speaking from a perspective of a person who is aware about these things.
Correct.
But a large majority within this country and outside of it as well do not understand these concepts that well.
Then they should be ready for damages. No, I'll tell you. So I'll tell you कि अभी एक series आई है and I really liked it.
Okay.
उसका नाम not series, it's a movie.
CTRL. Control.
CTRL.
हाँ जी.
So I think everyone should see that.
Yeah.
I really liked and Ananya Pandey has done a fantastic job in that.
Yeah.
She is picking up this kind of pictures, this kind of movies, stories, which is needs to be said and it needs to be read, seen, viewed by everyone.
Right. I enjoyed that movie too.
Me too.
Yeah.
मतलब आप एग्जैक्टली वही चीज है कि जो मैं अभी शायद कर ही रहा था कुछ समय पहले तक. बट द प्रॉब्लम इज कि इस तरह की मूवीज ना ज्यादा लोगों तक पहुंचती नहीं. तो आई रीच्ड बैक टू माय ऑफिस एंड आई टोल्ड एवरीवन कि बॉस एवरीवन नीड्स टू सी दैट. और सब लोग इसको जाके इंडोर्स करेंगे नेक्स्ट वीक से. सब लोग इसके बारे में एक ट्वीट करेंगे बिकॉज सच मूवी नीड्स टू बी एंडोर्स, नीड्स टू बी सीन बाय एवरीवन.
It's on Netflix. You should go watch it.
Yes, definitely. I would suggest that everyone must watch it. It's like 1.5 hour movie.
Yeah.
बिल्कुल आपका टाइम बोर नहीं करता है, कुछ भी नहीं करता. बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग मूवी. यू मस्ट सी दैट.
Right. Okay. So, which brings me to the next question: is if most of the chatter online is going to be disingenuous, it is going to be bot driven, then how do you disseminate actual information?
It's a tricky job. Then control lies in publications and companies like us.
Yeah.
Then the trust factor comes into place. Then tools like NewsGuard comes into place.
Okay.
Right? Those are, end of the day, आपको किसी के ऊपर rely करना पड़ेगा.
Yeah.
Because you cannot do everything.
Right.
Like when you're going and buying, let's say, an EV, you cannot say, boss, you open your engine and show me what technology you have used, how exactly you're configured.
Yeah.
You are trusting on that company.
True.
They have done the best job, and I'm buying because I can only select a company, the supplier.
Right.
I'm taking that component or that product from. I cannot just go deep dive into that and हर चीज मेरे को बताओ.
Absolutely.
Same thing applies here. So you have to be precautious कि वो जो source है आपका वो क्या है.
Yeah.
That is something you need to be very careful कि आप वो information कहाँ से consume कर रहे हो. What is the source you are consuming information from? And when it comes to data, it becomes even more crucial.
Got it.
And that's where Dazeinfo comes into the picture, because we always tell ki the data, that information may not be available on our platform instantly. It may come little late.
Yeah.
But whenever it will come, it will be 99% accurate. We will either give you a best or either we will not give you at all.
That inspires a lot of trust.
That's all. It's as simple as that.
All right. Let me switch gears now, Amit. What's your media consumption pattern like? What do you consume in a normal day?
So I'm a big time, movie lover.
Okay.
And in my life, I have learned a lot. So even in my office, most of my examples somewhere get connected. I keep on giving the example, वो movie का वो देखा था, वो देखा था, तो ये वो है.
Yeah.
So people keep telling me, why don't you start your own kind of podcast where you keep on giving all these examples?
You should do that, yeah.
Yeah. So actually what happens, in fact, my uncle keep on saying कि when I was coming to Bangalore, he keep on telling, no, you have taken a ticket to a wrong city.
Why?
You should have taken a ticket to Mumbai. The reason behind, because next to my house, when I was a kid, a movie used to get recorded.
Okay.
So there used to be one masterpiece, and I don't know whether it is illegal or legal at that time, and they used to have 7 other VCRs.
Okay.
So in one master's cassette will go, and then that will get dubbed in the other 7.
Okay.
So if you remember, if some of those people, they have seen those movies, suddenly ad used to come and suddenly get cut.
Yeah, they'd cut it. Yeah.
So I'm the one who's responsible behind that, because my job was कि auntie used to tell कि अच्छा तुम बैठे हो तो काम करना, जैसे ही कोई ad आएगा इसको pause कर देना और इसको fast forward करके फिर उसको play छोड़ देना. So that is what my job was there, and trust me, from I think 83, 84 से लेके, I was like 2-3 years old. तब से लेके 97, 98 तक, I think 97, जब ये अमिताभ बच्चन, हम and all those got released, अच्छी से अच्छी 92, हाँ शायद उसके और लेट, उसके बाद 95, 96 तक अच्छी से अच्छी मूवी और बुरी से बुरी मूवी जो आप शायद एक बार भी नहीं देख सकते हो, मैंने कम से कम 50-60 टाइम्स देखी होगी. Every movie, because Thursday at that time, every new movie used to get released on Thursday.
Right.
Cassette used to come on Friday.
Right.
So dubbing will start from Friday and will keep on going until Tuesday. And if movie is good enough, it will go for another 1 week.
Right.
And morning till night, वो एक ही पिक्चर बार. So वो कंजम्पशन इतना, उसका इन्फ्लुएंस मेरे ऊपर इतना ज्यादा था मूवीज का कि आई एम एबल टू रिलेट एवरीथिंग. अच्छा ये उस मूवी में था, उसमें वो मैसेज था. एंड व्हेनेवर आई सी अ मूवी, आई पर्सनली बिलीव एवरी मूवी इज वर्थ वन टाइम वॉच. बिकॉज ये लोग इतना मेहनत करते हैं, उसमें कोई ना कोई मैसेजिंग होती है. इट इज अप टू यू इफ यू आर एबल टू कैच दैट और नॉट.
What are some parallels that you see between filmmaking and entrepreneurship?
दोनों में बहुत मेहनत लगती है.
हाँ, बिल्कुल.
So it's like a product.
It's like a product. It is. Yeah.
It is not a service industry.
Yeah.
फर्स्ट यू हैव टू इन्वेस्ट
Mhm.
और उसके बाद ये डिसाइड होता है कि वो
अच्छा,
सक्सेस
ये
हिट
खराब।
होगी या नहीं हिट
Yeah,
होगी.
yeah.
So that is a one very common thing between two. And another interesting thing is दोनों में बड़ा मजा आता है.
अच्छा.
If you really enjoy it,
हाँ.
दोनों में मतलब you have to have multiple caps. जो प्रोड्यूसर होता है वो डायरेक्टर में भी उंगली करेगा, इस डायरेक्शन में भी करेगा, इसमें भी करेगा, उसमें उसका सब जगह से रहता है. उसी तरह if you are a co-founder, you will try to do everything, and that is actually a bad habit.
Okay.
So I'll tell you, one of my mentors, he keep on telling me, ki, Amit, just because you know something, that does not mean you should go and poke your finger, your nose there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, what's his name?
So there are 2-3 mentors.
Okay.
One of those were
Okay.
there.
All right. Yeah.
So since I know development, I know designing, and anyway I'm a sales guy by default, and now I'm an entrepreneur. So my philosophy is, you should be, if you are an entrepreneur, you should be jack of all trade and master of one. The reason behind, suppose you are talking, let's say you have got a design team, and designer is saying, sir, it will take 2 days to design. How will you trust?
Right. If you're
It
not
will take 2 days.
right.
If you are in a situation where you can counter or discuss, अरे नहीं इसमें तो यार इतना ही काम करना है ना, इसको तो ये लेयर चेंज कर दो, वो लेयर चेंज कर दो, कलर पैटर्न जो है ये यूज कर लो, उसको ऐसे ऐसे कर लो, इसमें कितना टाइम.
Correct.
The moment he will understand कि you know that shit,
Right.
he will not try to play with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So every entrepreneur should be jack of all trade and master of one. And same thing applies in movie.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. What's on the future roadmap for you and for Dazeinfo?
We are very clear. Whatever we are going to do, we will be doing around data. We are setting, anyway, we are working hard to work with many other conferences. So abhi, all the conferences which take place in India, we work closely with them. Large conferences, we work closely with them. BTS, TGS, IAMI ke conferences. In fact, we are among the few one from India which has been working with MWC, which is world's largest mobile conference, Money 2020, which is world's largest fintech conference. We worked with them. And now we are working on a very interesting tool, which we would be releasing soon, which is again about the data, finding the data and trend. It's a AI-driven tool, which is nowhere available at this point in time.
Okay.
So that is what we are doing. But definitely at this point in time on our platform, there are more than 20,000 registered users. Monthly active users are around 13,000.
Wow.
They are actively consuming some kind of intelligence. So we keep on doing many interesting analysis, which we keep on publishing, like the future of AI, EV market trend, the future of Ola, the future of Swiggy IPO, and we keep on drawing parallels with Swiggy IPO versus Zomato IPO versus Paytm IPO. It's a very interesting kind of view because we are expert in that.
Yeah.
As I said, we are good in reading between the numbers and between the lines. So these are kind of things, because if I personally feel ki if you are, everyone should bother more about how and why rather than who, where and when. WWW is not that important as it is how and why.
How and why is data. Who and where is information. I got that. All right. So with this, I'll move to the final segment of the show, Amit.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask ChatGPT to come up with would you rather questions.
Okay.
And let's see what your answers are.
Sure.
Okay, Amit, I've got a few questions with me from ChatGPT. The first one is, would you rather travel the world for free for a year or have $50,000 to spend however you like?
World. I will travel the world.
Yeah, you could actually, like, even if I was given $50,000, I would travel.
It will end one day, then what will I do?
Okay. Would you rather live 100 years in the future or 100 years in the past? So 2124 or 1924?
In past.
In past. What would you do?
I'll change my future.
You'll change.
Define my future.
Or change the future of your parents.
Yeah, whoever it is. I'll have control to define my future.
Okay. All right. Would you rather live in a world where it's always day or a world where it's always night?
Always day.
Always
I'm
day.
workaholic.
Okay. You can work in the night too.
Yeah. But our best minds work in night. Like A.R. Rahman.
Would you rather be able to talk to animals or speak every human language fluently?
Every human language fluently.
Okay, but it'd be interesting to talk to birds and all. No?
But we don't know what they talk. They will be interesting in. At least I know humans are interested in something.
Would you rather be the smartest person in the world or the funniest person in the world?
Funniest.
Why is that?
आज की डेट में इन्फ्लुएंसर्स का जोर चल रहा है भाई एंड कामरा वर्सेस भावेश.
Yeah. Would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout? Whisper. Don't
Whisper.
shout.
Yes, whisper.
Okay. Would you rather give up all drinks except water or give up eating anything that was cooked?
No, water.
Water. No, like you're getting water, but you have to give up So give up all drinks except for water or give up eating anything that was cooked. So you can either eat everything raw or you have to drink only water.
Drink only water.
Yeah.
So only water drinking, I don't think so. You can stay alive for a very, very long time.
Okay.
For some time, because there will not be any energy. You can only stay alive.
No. So, okay, wait. So you can drink water and you can have normal cooked food.
Okay.
Or you can be like only eat raw, but you can drink anything else.
No, water and cooked food.
Water and cooked food.
Yes.
But that means
safe.
No beer.
No beer. But that's very hard for me. Very hard for me.
Okay, all right. The final one. Actually, last two. Would you rather have unlimited respect or unlimited power?
Respect.
Respect. Okay. Would you rather be able to only listen to one song for the rest of your life or only watch one movie for the rest of your life?
One song.
One song. You'd end up hating that song. But what can you do?
No, but there's some songs you can keep on listening a number of times.
Right. Okay. All right. So on that note, Amit, I'll conclude this.
Yeah.
But with a final question. If our viewers and listeners want to reach out to you, how do they go about doing that?
Very much active on LinkedIn and X. So
what's your handle on X?
So yeah, Amit6060 on both the platform. You go to LinkedIn, type Amit6060. You go to X, type Amit6060. I'm very much available. You can also write me amit@dazeinfo.com. That is amit@dazeinfo.com.
The links will be in the description. And Amit, thank you.
Very much active on social profiles. You please drop me a message. And I really like to work with different kind of people. If you have got any kind of problem. So whenever I go, I'll always tell them, boss, do not ask me what I can do for you. You tell me what is your current problem.
Okay.
And then I will tell you how exactly I can help you to solve that problem.
Makes sense.
That is how I work with everyone. Whether it is my partner, whether it is my customer, whoever it is.
That makes you a very valuable person, Amit.
Yes, that is what I am. And that's I'm just trying to become.
Thank you, Amit.
Thanks for having me here.
Pleasure. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Nice discussion.